I have worked at Goodby Silverstein & Partners for the past 10 years, and I was based out of San Francisco. And you know, I just put my head down and I did my work, and one day I was pregnant and I left, you know, the agency to go on maternity leave, and it was during the Christmas party, and the Christmas party is a big time at Goodby for many, many reasons, many of them dirty. But it's also a time when they announce like Employee of the Year and partners and all that sort of stuff. I'd been out for 6 weeks, so my daughter was 6 weeks old. Like, I'm not going there because you know what you look like after that. You know, they kept sort of saying, come, you should come. I'm like, no, I don't want to come. And then, you know, you feel like I would really like to go because I haven't had an adult conversation in a long time or a drink, and if I just time it properly, I could pump before I go, and you know, you sort of sort that whole thing out. So I went. And at this party, they named me an associate partner, which at the time I remember thinking, I cannot believe in this day and age when oftentimes you do just feel like, wow, I am a woman in this room, that they would name me that when I was gone for 6 months. You know, I felt like what an honor, what a privilege, what a recognition of the work that I had done. So I felt very connected to this company. I put my head down and did some more work, and you know, did the best I could every day and worked really hard. And then we got pregnant with our second. And my husband and I decided it was best to move back to New York because our families are here, and it's really difficult to raise children when you don't have a support system around you. I think any mother could probably tell you that. So we decided to move, and you know, when I told the agency that I was moving, and you know, I had already had a job with this wonderful woman.
Safe room. It's a safe room.
It's a safe room.
Oh my God. Retaining employees is just doing great in this room.
Yeah.
You know, I told them, and I had accepted it, and it was like, you know, Goodby doesn't have an agency in New York. You know, it is what it is. Thank you for my time here. I will forever be indebted, but it's time I have to pick my kids. You know, I mean, I just have to pick my kids. And so I told them, and they said, well, hang on, what if we open an agency in New York and you run it? Okay, listen, totally fine. I love you guys. I will always love you. But I'm going to move to New York. No need to do that. No. But seriously, what if we did that? And you know, I mean, you can imagine how I felt. You know, it was just like a rush of emotion, and you know, they became serious about the thing, and you know, they put like a really, because I just said, you know, if you mean it, you'll put a real creative powerhouse in there with me in New York, and they did. It was like, my gosh, this is really happening. I can't believe that this is happening. So of course I said yes, and you know, let's do this thing. And we just launched maybe a couple of weeks ago. And you know, we were getting press, and Fast Company wanted to do an interview, and this was last Friday. And I guess all the way I should have told you that I work a 4-day work week, and that's another thing that the agency has always been happy to have me do. And the thing with the 4-day work week is that you know, you have to have a 4-day work week, you know, and you tell people, I actually don't get paid to work 5 days. I get paid to work 4 days. And when you tell people that, it makes all the difference in the world, I think. So it was Friday. It was 2 Fridays ago, and my daughter had a birthday party at a gymboree. And so, you know, I'm going to the party. It's going to be over at 4 o'clock, and I'll be home in time for a 4:30 interview with Fast Company to talk about the launch of this office, which you can imagine for somebody who really has put their head down the whole time. This is such a big deal to me. I mean, it's such a big deal. I can't believe anybody would want to talk to me about anything. So, you know, as a mom, you learn to tell your kid, you know, to give them notice of when things are happening. You must never spring something on your children. You must never do that, because then the tantrums ensue, and it's a horrible thing. So I say, Lillian, listen, Mommy has to leave right at 4 o'clock because we have to, you know, go home. Mommy has a very important call. And she's like, yeah, okay, Mommy, no problem. And you know, I say it again. Once we arrive at the gymboree, Mommy has an interview, so we have to go at 4 o'clock. Yeah, Mommy. And you know, she's jumping around and having a great time, and her friends, look, Mommy, look at this, look at this, look at this. I mean, she's having a blast, and I get a little ping on my phone that says the interview is now at 4:15.
Oh my God.
I will not make it home in time. I mean, the place is about 20 minutes away. I need the interview to be at 4:30, but that's the only time that they can do this, and everybody is really interested in this interview happening. So the party's running late, and you know, it's about 4:05, and you know, the whole time I'm sitting there being like, serve the damn cake. I mean,
right.
Right, don't act like we're not here for the cake, you know? Serve the cake. So 4:05, finally, the cake comes out, and my daughter is like, Mommy, they have a truck on the cake. There's vanilla on the cake, and there's chocolate. Oh, Mommy, how did they know this is my favorite flavor? Mommy, the cake, the cake. She's beyond excited about the cake. By the time they sit down, they plate the cake, the kids are ready to eat. It is 4:15. And I sit there, and I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I'm panicked, and I'm trying to text with my husband, who's like, okay, let's figure this thing out. And, you know, like we're running, you know how it is. You try to figure it all out. You try to figure it all out and project manage your day, which is bullshit, because that never works. And I sit there, and I look at my kid who has chocolate all over her face. I mean, she could not be happier. And I say, my kid will eat the fucking cake. That's what's going to happen right now, is my kid's going to eat the cake. Fuck the interview. And, you know, she ate the cake. It was 4:30. I got in at 4:45 or so. And then, I mean, I still got on the phone and, you know, did the silly interview. But I guess the point of all of those examples for me has been, I pick my kids first. I always pick them first. And it seems to work. And that doesn't mean that I'm going to miss the interview all the time, or I'm going to go to every jamboree party, because obviously I haven't done that. Sometimes it's like, Mommy has to work. Mommy has to pay the bills so you can go to school. So, you know, I have to work 5 days a week this week. The choices won't always lead you to the thing that you think it will. You know, so when women get up here, or women, you know, talk to you and say, you know, family first, it doesn't mean that you abandon the job. It really does mean that you put your kids front and center. And you'll be surprised by the choices that you make. And when you surround yourselves with the right people, like everyone's been talking about, I think you could also be surprised at how well people respond to those kinds of choices and how much you get rewarded for making those choices, because I've never been unclear about that choice. I've always felt like the priority has been my kids. Therefore, I will move and I will leave the company for the kids. I will work 4 days a week for the kids. You know, I will miss an interview for the kids. And I will miss a birthday party for the kids, because that meeting is very important. So I think I've been lucky enough to be rewarded for making that choice and being clear about that choice and that priority, you know, the entire time.